She's gonna turn it on.
Hi, good evening, everyone. If I can get everyone's attention for just a minute. We're going to start the whole service at 5:45. So that's about 8 minutes from now or so. But there's lots of food in the back there. The bar is open, obviously. But make yourself comfortable, and in about just under 10 minutes, we'll get everything started. Okay? Thank you. Excuse me, everybody. If we can ask everyone to settle down, grab your seats, or find a place to stand, we'll be starting in about 30 seconds or so.
Hello, everyone. For those of you that may not know, I'm Christina's son, Michael. Thank you all for gathering here today to celebrate my mother's life. Before we begin, I would like to make a few acknowledgements. Thank you to all the family and friends who contributed to making this celebration special. Thank you to my auntie Apples, aka Isabel, for helping support this evening. I want to thank my cousin Julian and his girlfriend Crystal for inviting me to their home. Thank you, Julian, for your dedication and putting your heart into the videos we made. I love you, cuz. And thank you to their lovely dog, Kaya, for their companionship. And to my Tita Lulu, I wouldn't have been able to put all this together without you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for being by my side. Thank you to all the speakers. I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to share. Thank you to Cara and the Warring Club and Renan at Emil's Catering. Oops, lost my spot here. My cousin Peter Aragon will be your MC for this evening. Thank you, Peter, for being gracious with your time despite your busy family schedule. Did I leave anyone out? I don't think so. Thank you, everyone. Peter.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Peter Aragon, and I am one of Christina's 29 first cousins. Yeah. I am very honored to be here with all of you this evening. We are here to remember and celebrate the life of Christina Hepburn. It's our hope that every part of the service will honor a life lived so beautifully among us. I'm sure you would all like to join me in saying to Christina's mother, Dora, her son, Michael, her siblings, Isabel, Robert, and Steve, her partner, Jeff, her nieces and nephews and aunts and uncles, that you are all in our thoughts and prayers because of your loss. We all want to be available to all of you in any way possible as you go through this journey of grief. And at the same time, let me express the family's gratitude to all of you for your presence this evening. The journey of grief is long, and those who walk it should not have to walk it alone. So it's in times like these that nothing can take the place of our loved ones, and many of them are in this room this evening. So your presence today is a testament to how loved Christina was and shows what an impact her life has made in this world. It is an important day when we gather together to honor a life and mourn a death. And tonight we honor a woman who has touched so many lives. Time stands still for just a moment as we stand here to acknowledge that someone has touched our lives, has left an imprint on our hearts, and left our souls eternally changed. Tonight we all step away from our hectic schedules to hear stories of our beloved Christina, to laugh and cry together as we reminisce, and to acknowledge that we are different because Christina was in our life. In a few moments, I will call up some of Christina's closest family and friends to share a few words about what Christina meant to them. But before I do, I'd like to remind everyone that of the memorial hearts that are here by the window, and also the guest book that was at the entrance. So on behalf of the family, we'd like everyone to at least sign the guest book, and if you feel so inclined, to please write a personal message to Christina on these memorial hearts that will be displayed up here to the left. We'd also like to call your attention to Christina's beautiful artwork at the back of the room. Artwork which has been generously donated by a number of the members of our family. And please take the time to appreciate this very small sample of the incredible work that our very gifted Christina has left us with. Our sharings and video tributes will conclude around 7:45, at which time the servers will come around with food for everyone. All right, I think that's about it. So without further ado, I'd like to call up Christina's youngest brother and my older cousin Steve to share a few words with us. You look older, dude.
I see. Peter is actually older, just to let everybody know. All right, I've been asked to keep this under 5 minutes, so apparently I talk a lot, so I brought a script. If mermaids lived on land, which country would they live in? Finland, yes. One more for my religious folks. What do mermaids eat during Lent? Holy mackerel. You guys should have known that, being the youngest brother of 5. I'd be adding jokes throughout this celebration tribute. Okay, so come on, tonight we're going to toast and we're going to roast a little bit tonight, and that's just how our family celebrates. Welcome to Christina's celebration of life, to my mom, Apps, Robert, Michael, Jeff, and to all our wonderful friends and family that are here and online. Thank you for spending the time tonight to share this precious day with us. Thank you. Today is about celebrating, and I'm not sure if you've started drinking yet, but if you haven't, I suggest you start now, because ugly crying faces are much more acceptable when you have a drink and a tissue in your hand. And if you stop drinking for some reason, stop being a quitter. No one likes quitters. Tonight, my drink of choice is wine, red wine. Many of you know my sister stopped drinking years ago, but when she did drink, oh boy, the excitement of not knowing what was going to happen next was terrifying, but yet exciting. For instance, many years ago, I was a stand-up comedian, and on my very first show I did was at Yuck Yucks, and the only reason that I got my first gig wasn't because I was funny. It's because the manager asked me at the time how many people I could bring, and I said, buddy, I'm half Filipino. I can bring at least 100 family members. He said, you're in. You got 5 minutes. I was so excited, and guess who else was excited? 2 of my family members, my sister Chris and my brother Rob, who just made it wherever he is. They were so excited, they decided to party it up right before the show. And I know you remember, Rob, and guess where they decided to sit, you and Christina? The front row at the comedy club. And you know what happens to people who sit at the front row of a comedy club? They get abused. Well, let me put it this way. I'm in the green room with the other comedians hanging out before our sets, and the MC comes out after his start of the show and says, hey, there's a really pretty woman at the front who won't stop talking, and she's feeling really good. I'm going to be on her like white on rice. I said, oh, good Lord, here comes the jokes. Here we go. This is going to be a long night. But in between the sets, I look out of the curtain and I see my sister Chris laughing and ordering drinks and talking to the waitress like they had been best friends for years. I love that about Chris. It was always somehow her show, and she always made her friends. Anywhere she would go, she would make friends. Across the world or at a local Chinese restaurant, she made friends and had people enamored with her ways. But before my set, I popped my head out once again from the curtain because I was a little nervous that I was going to get heckled by my own sister and mom. But I realized I couldn't find my sister or my brother. They were AWOL. Where did they go? I still would like to know. To finish the story, I'll let you ask my brother Rob later on exactly what happened. He knows, trust me. I think someone got sick in an elevator, but not sure, which reminds me, do you know why ghosts ride elevators? It helps lift their spirits. Thank you, thank you. Where are my groaners? In a few seconds, I want everyone to shut their eyes for about 20 or 30 seconds. But no wandering hands, please. Greg, Nathan, Mark, Mike, please keep your hands in your pocket. You know what happened last time. Now please, everyone, shut your eyes and think of a time you experienced with my sister something terrifying but exciting, something hard but loving, something that made you cry but laugh in the end. Think about that for a few more seconds and hold on to that moment. Because people come and go, but memories last a lifetime. And Chris gave us so many wonderful memories. Now you can open your eyes, and I hope no one got slapped. Christina was fierce. Christina was driven. Christina was artistic. Christina was loving. Christina was kind. And Christina was connected to all of us. She lived a wonderful life of family, business, and travel, and created many happy moments. Life is short, people. Kids grow up so quick. Adults get old quickly. Chris just celebrated her 60th birthday on February 12th. And what does 60 years... Oh, sorry. That was my son, February 12th, February 11th. You're right. Thank you, Michael. What does actually 60 years really look like? That's really only 21,900 precious days and nights. That's only 3,120 weekends. That's really only 60 Christmases and 60 summers. I always tell my kids, if you only see people once a year or every few years, try to cherish those moments because you never know when you will see these people again. Today, I look out and I haven't seen many of you in years. But I want to say, I love you, my family loves you, Christina loves you. You're experiencing the celebration of life with us, and we thank you for spending one of your most precious days with us. So please raise your glasses, and on 3, let's say as loud as you can to Christina. 1, 2, 3. To Christina. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Steve. He will be back on the mic at the end of the evening with another set, I'm sure. All right, our next speaker is Christina's middle brother and also the fittest of all 30 first cousins. Can't tell because he's all covered, but Rob.
Hello, just got here because my tire kept going flat. Just came from America, and sorry I'm late. But I did do a eulogy on my phone over the last couple of weeks. So here we go. My sister Christina has moved on from the short and temporary world we live in. As we all know, God bless her beautiful soul. I sought her advice and tutelage when I was in a huge transition in my life when I was younger. Christina was the reason why I chose the real estate industry as my career, and we really had a special bond after that. Attractive, intelligent, and articulate. She commanded respect when she spoke and exuded a presence that many could only aspire to. I miss her. Uh-oh, I lost it. Christina was an amazing cook, really good food, artist, underwater photographer, writer, sister, and friend. She definitely had that innate ability to master anything she desired. It's huge. She was a boss, shot caller, loved to go to the mauler, had a Philippine father. That was a little American-ish, but this is how I remember her, and to each their own, right? I did just come from America. But this is how I remember to her loving and caring man. Jeff, where are you? Love you, brother. Who was devoted to her unconditionally. He was there till the very end, day after day, minute after freaking minute, man. It's unbelievable. I thank you for blessing her last years with your deep love that I know gave her strength that she needed. You will always be family, brother. And Michael, who lost his mother on his damn birthday, I'm always there for you, nephew. So proud of the way you have handled all this like a man. My poor mother, who has experienced so much pain, your strength through Dad and Sel, and now Christina, must be acknowledged and cherished. You are the strongest person I've ever met. God bless. Nothing but love from my amazing sister, Christina, the eldest of all the Menmore offspring. You will be missed, but never forgotten. Over the last year, you would have never known she was in serious, debilitating pain. She fought so hard while not complaining to protect us from the severity of her reality. I wish we spoke more, but we spoke. Three days before her surgery. And she assured me that she will beat the pain and all the odds. And that was an emotional mess, like as of now. My big sister wasn't. She made me want to be a fighter no matter the battle. I do have some regrets, and I wish I could have done more, but at least I got a smile on her face the last time I spoke to her just hours before she passed. Feel free to ask me later how, because it was meaningful. And she smiled when she couldn't even move her body or anything, because I know she heard me. Just let me know. I miss her so much, and many of us all do. Just know my sister was as real as it gets. Thank you for all coming, listening by, I don't know, what is online, excuse me, and celebrating her life this evening. Ironically, it happens to be a new moon solar eclipse tonight. This is an anomaly like Christina when she blessed us all with her captivating presence. I love you, big sister. You are pain-free now and can enjoy the afterlife with Dad and Sel. One day, I'll see you then. Thank you all for coming.
That was deep. Thank you, Rob. That was good. Our next speaker, I don't even know if she's here right now. Is Erica here? She's still on her way. So we'll move her down the line, all right? Okay. So at this point, we're gonna ask Linda to come up. Linda is a friend of Christina's for over 40 years, and she's gonna be singing a Tagalog song for us. So if Linda is here and ready to go.
John?
Where's that?
Thank you. The song that I'm going to sing kid about 10 years ago or so. And each time Christina invited me for these big events that she did every year during Christmas, she always asked me to sing this song. But then I told her, I can't sing it alone. I have to find a partner to sing it with. But then she said, okay, can you find somebody to sing it with you, please, 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 please. It's my favorite song, it's my favorite song. Okay, I'll try my best. Okay, I did try to look for that friend of mine, that great friend of mine, who sang it with me. Unfortunately, he moved out of town. So I went back to her and I said, Chris, I cannot sing it alone. Oh no, she said, I don't care. You have to sing it alone. so I said, oh, I don't know. I haven't tried to sing alone. So anyway, party comes and I did sing it and I finished it alone. And since then I said, oh, I don't really need a partner to sing this. And tonight, my dear friend, I'm going to sing it again, alone. This is for you. Can we start with the other song, please? No, let me prepare. Okay. Tagalog song. I don't think this is the one. Okay, so I have prepared two songs. One is Filipino and one is English. And I'm going to do this English number for you. You have to excuse we only have to prepare this afternoon because yesterday we were going to practice with the sound check and everything, but there was an event going on, so this was like prepared for rehearsal. And
Thank you so much, Linda Magno, who will be back later on in the service to sing another song for us, but you can definitely see why that was one of Christina's favorite songs and that she asked you to sing it all the time. We're going to move on with our next group of speakers, and we want to start by calling up her partner, Jeff Fleming. Jeff, mic's yours. Oh, Jeff, you're good? Okay.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to start by saying Apples has posted a eulogy over here. So if you get time, you can read it. It's beautiful. All right. Who is Christina Hepburn? Before I share with you who I know Christina to be, I'd like to thank everyone who is here today, both in person and online. As we honor the loving and beautiful and shining light of inspiration we've all come to know as that of Christina Hepburn. My name is Jeff Fleming, and I'm Christina's life partner. I'm here to tell you a tale, a mermaid tale of sorts, one of serendipity and fate, a story of two hearts destined to be intertwined. It all started on a quiet, cool evening in an unassuming city called Abbotsford. It was the third week of March 2020, and the world as we knew it was about to change in ways none of us could ever have imagined. News outlets and print headlines spelled out predictions of a looming pandemic rapidly spreading across the globe. And with international borders closing and restricting non-essential travel, people were left stranded as airlines canceled flights without so much as any notice. The world was now in the midst The world was now in the midst of a pandemic, and Christina had just landed in Vancouver, mere days before all remaining flights would be grounded. She arrived in Abbotsford exhausted from her travels and looking forward to a good night's rest. The sun had set, and a light breeze tousled her long brown mermaid hair as she hurriedly walked towards the entrance of a building. As Christina stepped up to the building, memories of her previous visit here at her mom's condominium illuminated her mind, conjuring up a sense of familiarity that was both comforting and hopeful. Christina could see the elevator through the building's glass front doors, only a few measured steps away from where she stood. And while crossing the threshold to the elevator, she felt a growing sense of excitement that a new beginning was within reach. As the elevator doors opened and Christina stepped inside, she took a deep breath and imagined herself submerged in the warm, tranquil waters of Palau, eager to photograph the breathtaking, vibrant hues of Palau's diverse coral reefs and witness its teeming array of ocean life through her camera lens once again. The elevator doors closed slowly, emitting a gentle sigh, which seemed to echo a similar feeling inside Christina's travel-weary mind. She reached out and pressed the elevator button for the 4th floor. As the elevator ascended from the 1st floor to the 2nd and then to the 3rd, and its hum filled the air before finally opening its door on the 4th floor. Stepping out of the elevator, Christina turned right, making her way towards her mother's suite at the far end of the hallway. Christina inserted the key into the lock and turned it to unlock the door. Little did Christina and I know at the time, our lives were about to intersect in the most unexpected and delightful way. This night was not going to be like any other night. I was home alone, watching TV, while trying to unwind after a long day at work. And then it happened. A sound caught my attention. Someone was trying to break into my house. Cautiously, I approached the hallway leading to the foyer, but not before hearing the rattling of keys again, and a second attempt of someone trying to break into my house. Reaching the door, I leaned in and peered through the peephole, and to my surprise, there stood a woman with 2 luggage bags in tow, looking rather frazzled and a little bewildered. As I opened the door, I introduced myself with a warm smile, saying, "Hi, neighbor. Welcome to the 4th floor. I believe you may have found yourself at the wrong door." Before I could say anything more, Christina chimed in, explaining how she had intended to turn left at the elevator, heading towards her mother's suite at the opposite side of the hallway, but instead, she had mistakenly turned right, ending up at my door. Our conversation that night may have been brief, but it sparked something within us. And in the days that followed, we found ourselves drawn to each other. And as we spent more time together, our initial affinity quickly blossomed into something deeper, with further fanning the flames of our heart. Christina and I often found ourselves looking back affectionately upon the story of our first encounter, as it was clear to us that the stars had aligned. And as love would have it, it continued to grow and flourish over the years, taking root in our souls. Perhaps Christina turned right instead of left as a result of jet lag and a long day of traveling, or just maybe there was something more to it than that. In our conversations, Christina and I often reminisced about the serendipitous events that occurred when we first met on that fateful night. We both agreed our frequent chance encounters running into each other throughout the building could only account to one thing. And with so many coincidences, we simply couldn't explain it away other than for the reasons beyond our understanding. Call it what you will, coincidence or synchronicity, but our paths crossed for a reason. This was just the beginning of our tale, a mermaid tale of sorts, an everlasting story of boundless love, unwavering devotion, and an unbreakable bond that transcends life itself. While Christina's key did not actually open the door of my home, it did something even more profound. It manifested love. It unlocked my heart, forever entwining our 2 hearts as one. Okay. Christina's legacy is a message of love, forgiveness, hope, and inspiration, and not least of which, a life free from ego and limiting beliefs that hold us back from aspiring to be the best we can be. I'm reminded of the words Christina would often share with me. She would say, always return to love. And even now I hear her voice as a source of truth that still guides me. I believe that she meant for us all to look beyond our egos and connect with the love that's within us, as well as the divine source of love that surrounds us all. Christina taught me that love is the most powerful force in the universe. She lived her life with an open heart, giving love freely and unconditionally to all those who would receive it. Her generosity and kindness touched the lives of countless people. Christina was a daughter, first and foremost, and a sister to family and even friends, a niece, an aunt, a mother to a son, and a loving and loyal life partner. Christina was brilliant beyond her years, beautiful, kind, and had a heart that desired above all things to be loved and to love others. Her life's purpose was to raise the consciousness of the world. And although this calling was not always easy one to follow, she rose to the occasion and embraced it with grace and courage, even in the face of adversity. Her message to all of us has always been to return to love, to connect with the love in our hearts, and to let it guide our journey. Even though Christina is no longer with us, her voice lives on. Her generosity and warmth touched everyone she encountered. Her legacy of love will continue to inspire the lives of many. Her life with us will always be cherished, and the peaceful smile that adorned her face in her final moments will forever be imprinted on our hearts and minds. For Christina, love was not a feeling, it was a way of being. Christina taught me that love is the most important thing we have, and that's what connects us all. And from that sacred place, as her final gift to everyone, her heart reached out with forgiveness, and she chose to pour out her abundance of love as a final act before peacefully closing her eyes.
Thank you so much, Jeff. That is a beautiful mermaid story. Feels like could be a Hallmark movie at some point, so it feels like. All right, I saw my cousin Erica come in, so we're going to ask Erica to come up and say a few words. She is one of Christina's closest cousins, and I won't give her age, but she's number 6 of 30. No one will know. No one will know.
Hello everyone, my name is Erica, and like my cousin said, I am Christina's first cousin, to be exact, number 6 on the Monroy list of first cousins on my dad's side of the family. First of all, to Michael, Tita Dora Apples, Robert, Stephen, Jeff, and the rest of the family, I want to say thank you for this opportunity of being able to share how much Christina meant to me. Christina and I had a closeness that was beyond the closeness of just being family. It was different because we were cousins. We were friends, but most importantly, we were sisters, as Christina would put it. We had a special bond, a deep closeness and connection that meant everything to me. As I reflected on what I was trying to say and organizing my thoughts and what I was going to share, I decided to read through all of my messages with Christina over the years, which were mainly through Facebook Messenger. Christina would always make fun of me in the past because it took forever for me to get a cell phone. And it was only when my son Javon went off to college in 2019 that I decided to get one. I realized that kids today communicate through text, and that was what I had to do to remain connected. Christina couldn't believe it, and at least her teasing me about not having a cell phone finally stopped. No matter where she was in the world, Christina would always reach out to me and ask how I was doing. In one message that I found, this is what she said. Talk to me. My life is very involved here in Palau at the moment, but first tell me about you. That was Christina. Always making sure she asked how I was and how I was doing. When we would see each other during family gatherings, it was always catch-up time. But catching up with Christina was never just a quick hello, a chit-chat, and then saying goodbye. Catching up with Christina was always a minimum of 2 hours or more, and it always involved either eating calamari or eating oysters at Rodney's in Yaletown. This was our thing with each other, talking, laughing, eating, and sharing updates about each other's lives. 2019 was a hard year for me, as I myself was diagnosed with breast cancer. I remember when I told Christina, we met up at Earl's in Burnaby late July 2019, and as I started my cancer journey, Christina was always there, constantly checking up on me, sending me messages like, how are you, sweetie? Hi, sweet one, thinking of you, sending you healing light, and sending you a big, huge hug and love. Little did I know that a few years later, she would be leaning on me. When she first called me, I could tell she was scared. She was asking me all these questions, and I was more than willing to answer them and share what I went through with her. I told her that although there may be some similarities, her journey and fight were going to be different, and her experiences were going to be her own. But she did not worry do not worry because you are in God's hands and God has a plan for you. And she understood that. I would have to say that just within the last few years, we had the most interaction with each other as I made sure she knew I was there for her at any given moment she needed me. Regardless of the time or day, I was going to be there for her. More recently, back in October, I was sent to Chicago for work, and I immediately had a strong desire to invite Christina to join me. She was so excited as she had never been there before, but more importantly, we were going to have girl time together. The first night, she joined me for happy hour with my coworkers, and over a glass of red wine and champagne, she was sharing everything about she has experienced over the last year or so. And I remember telling her, Christina, you are amazing. You live life the way you want to live your life, and you have seen and done so many things so many people will never have the opportunity to see or do. And even though I knew she had so much more she wanted to do, I told her that she has lived an amazing life. Although I did not know this time together would be the last time that I would ever get to see Christina, what makes me smile is that I know I was there for her when she needed someone to unload to and to just listen to her. Never once did I place judgment on her, tell her how she needed to do her treatments, or how she needed to live her life. I believe she appreciated me for that. She was her own person, and she was going to do what she was going to do in her own way. To me, Christina lived her life to the fullest. Her life was one big adventure over another, and I admired her for that. Her passion for diving in the ocean, the beautiful creatures that she would take pictures of, her love for the arts and photography, her ability to communicate with people, her gift of writing, and for being courageous in sharing her personal journey and all the people whose lives she's touched. All of that and more is who Christina is to me. I just recently went to Hawaii, and I wanted to honor Christina by visiting as many places as I could on the island of Oahu and taking pictures with the little memorial that I made of her. After I took a picture with her memorial frame on the lava rocks outside of the Mermaid Cave, a small little butterfly landed on the corner of the frame. I couldn't believe it. I used to tell her that although I knew she was a mermaid, to me, she also reminded me of a butterfly, because not only are butterflies beautiful, but when they fly, they don't travel in a straight line. They flutter in all different directions. To me, this was a sign that she approved of what I did to remember her and that she was in her happy place. I love you, Christina. I will miss you dearly. You will always and forever be in my heart.
Wow, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much, Erica. I'm gonna ask Sarah Humert to come up. She's another really good friend of Christina's, and she has a few words that she would like to share. So come on up, Sarah.
I'm deeply touched by this invitation to speak about Christina, a very dear friend who I journeyed with for about the last 10 years. I met Christina through my son, who's a photographer as well, and shared that passion of photography with her. And during that time, in my introduction to her, she was a high-end realtor. She was living a high life. She had a beautiful high-rise apartment. She would invite us for wine and cheese, and we'd go for dinners together, and she lived a life of significant material success. But at some point along the way, that wasn't enough for her. All her material success, while she enjoyed it, and she enjoyed the friends and colleagues she had in real estate, she said there must be more. When she came to visit us in Edmonton at one point, we had a couple of friends who were on a spiritual journey, deep spiritual journey, who had no material success to speak of, but we're deeply peaceful and loving beings. And she said, you know, when they were coming to Vancouver, she said, why don't you come and stay at my place? I have, you know, room for you, and I'd love for you to stay. After they arrived, she would phone me every day and wondered what she had gotten herself into, because these were two people who would invite all kinds of people that they would meet in various places in Vancouver to her apartment for satsang. And she said, you know, and they expect me to be driving them around in their BMW, and these are people I don't even know, and what are they doing at my place? But they left something with her that she couldn't forget, and that was some kind of a devotion that she yearned for, but she didn't know where to find it or how to move into that. So she was in constant touch wherever she went, and she came to visit our home again on her way to Palau. And then at some point along the way, as she was on her travels, she had an experience on one of her trips where she saved somebody's life. And as she was sharing that experience with us, she couldn't believe that she could actually take that action and dive in and save somebody's life and put somebody's life ahead of her own. She never forgot that experience. She could hardly talk about it. It was so deep and profound. So there were that experience and others where she finally said, you know what, I don't want to live the life I've been living anymore. And she sold her apartment and moved to Courtenay. And we spent some time on Courtenay, and she thought she would dabble in real estate and live a quiet life in Courtenay. But for those of you who have talked about Christina, you know that a quiet life was not exactly her cup of tea. So she proceeded to sell her place in Courtenay, and she came and this isn't in a good sequence. I don't tell stories in good sequence, but there were so many events that went on in our lives. But at some point, she said, I've got to give all this up, including real estate. I can't do it anymore, Sarah. There's no joy in it for me. But that meant releasing so much of her material life that how was she going to manage? And so this was the journey then of deep trust. And this is where I held her hand through those experiences where she got very, very frightened of what life would be without those underpinnings that had supported her for so long. And it was a new way of being, but it was inspired by, especially by the two people that she really had difficulty hosting, but could not forget the joy that they brought to her and the peace that she experienced with them. So then she spent a month. It was during COVID. She was with Jeff at the time, but she said, I need to retreat, and I need to have a space where I can just be. And that's where she spent a month in our home when we were living in Edmonton. And it was a time that we went to Mexico, and she kind of took over. But we had a lot of time to talk and reflect and pray. And it was a really meaningful time that we spent together. And that continued on with her diagnosis of cancer, which actually happened in Edmonton, where she noticed a little growth under her arm. And we sent her to our doctor, and he did the first simple operation, but that she didn't know how serious it was at that time. And yet, you know, she used the experience of cancer to go even deeper into her trust and into her spiritual, diving deeper into her spirituality. And it was a time when, no matter where she was or where she went, we stayed very, very deeply connected. And I have to say that she used that experience to come to deep peace within herself. And so, you know, in that way, it truly was a gift. It was a gift that she used so beautifully that she inspired me with how I saw her unfolding. And Erica, you mentioned a butterfly, and I think that's a beautiful symbol of how she navigated her way through life, trusting more and more that all was well. My last visit with her was in the hospital, first on her birthday, and then the week that she left the planet. And we had a very beautiful, beautiful connection, and just so much gratitude for the time that we spent together, and how much I learned from her, and how much I appreciated her courage as she went through what would, for most people, bring up a lot of fear. And fear certainly was there, but more important was her trust and her courage. So I will miss this deep connection that we had in the body, but I know that our connections with each other just never end. And so I'm grateful that, you know, we had this time together and that she was a part of my life and was such an inspiration and lived with so much passion. So I would just like to end by saying that Christ promised that when he went back to the Father, that he would prepare a beautiful home for us to dwell when we leave this earth. I'm trusting this promise for Christina. May you be glowing with joy, my friend. Your life and love has changed us, and we cherish every single precious moment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. That was beautiful. I love hearing all these different sides of my cousin and learning so much more about her life through all these sharings. So I really appreciate you taking the time to do that. I'd like to call up another one of her close friends, Francesca Murray. Francesca, if you could please come up here and say a few words.
Hi, everybody. I'm Francesca. And I wrote a speech in my journal, and then I forgot the journal at home. And then I asked my daughter, I said, you know, can you take a picture of the speech and send it to me? And the picture she sent is very blurry, and the other one came out sideways. And I thought, oh my God, this is Christina. I met Christina in Mind Valley. I was a student, and she was an ambassador for the Speak and Inspire Quest many years ago. It would be about 3.5 years or so ago. And I went to Mind Valley because I was frozen. I didn't understand, or I had resistance to speaking online and sharing meditations and so forth. And Speak and Inspire, actually Christina was the one who inspired me to show up and speak online, because I remember when I heard her, I thought, oh my God, this girl she could speak. I want to speak like her. You know, everything she taught us, it was so, sorry, normally I'm a loud speaker. I thought I still am. I thought I still was. I am so sorry. You know, I thought this would be easier because I love Christina and I miss her. A few days ago, I was walking my daughter to school. I was walking to pick my daughter up from school. And I swear I saw her inside of the coffee shop. Somebody that looked exactly like her, and I turned around and I was like, oh my God, Christina, you're here again. You know, she's with me in my apartment, she's everywhere. And yesterday morning when I was meditating, and I know it might sound like woo-woo to some people, but I swear she showed up in my meditation on purpose. Because there was this beautiful golden little fish. In fact, I had to Google to figure out what the name of the fish was, but it was a yellow tang. And it was just sitting there, like as I'm sitting meditating, thinking of Christina, and it's like swimming because I'm like, oh my goodness, you know, I'm going to write my speech today. And there it was swimming, but then it just stopped and looked at me. And she had that beautiful look that everybody know, Christina, if you've been present with her, when she suddenly goes like, you know, it's like that, it's the essence of who she truly is. Even though she's confused, she doesn't understand why the universe made her this beautiful fish. And she would look at me with that same look and she would say, Francesca, what am I supposed to do with this? And so we would talk, you know, I would say, you know, Christina, just surrender. Surrender, just be, just be. And that's what I was repeating in my meditation, just surrender and just be. She spent a lot of time with me and my daughter. She actually lived with us for about a month last year before my illness. And when I became ill, I was hospitalized. She took care of me. Even though she was hurt and she had already been diagnosed with cancer, she was already going to the hospital, getting treatments. She insisted on showing up for me. She would show up, she would cook. I think she even Jeff made his favorite cookies. They would show up at the hospital and they would bring me food. And if you've had Christina's food, she is the most beautiful cook, like, oh my God. I keep saying, thank God. I asked her, you know, she shared, we actually cooked salmon together before I was hospitalized, and I'm like, thank God she shared that salmon recipe with me. And I told her that when I saw her on her birthday in the hospital, I'm like, thank you so much for sharing that salmon recipe with me, because I had known for a long time, since the first set of diagnosis, since she started going to the hospital and they were finding, you know, they found the lump. I coached her through, you know, encouraging her to go and follow through with finding out what was happening. But Christina, being Christina, she wouldn't let me say anything to anybody. She was like, Francesca, okay, you're the only person I talk to about this. You know, I'm vulnerable with you, but don't say anything to anybody, right? But that was the kind of relationship Christina and I had. We were open with each other. She opened up to me everything about her life, you know, and then we would joke, you know, with each other, and she would say, Francesca, don't process me. That was her favorite thing to do. And I'm like, one day after months, I'm like, Christina, what do you mean by don't process you? And she's like, oh, well, you know, I know you analyze, you can analyze things. I'm like, so when I'm sharing, you know, I don't want you to process me. And I'm like, you do realize, because I can see everything, I don't have to process anything, right? And we started laughing. So we would, you know, have silly, you know, spend silly time like that together. We would, thank God, when it came to karaoke, it happened in our bedroom, so nowhere in public. I didn't have to do it in front of anybody. We sat on my daughter's bed, and we did karaoke night after night when she stayed with us. You know, every night she would sing with my daughter. My daughter is also a mermaid, so she was joyful to meet Christina and have somebody else who's also a mermaid. And they would braid each other's mermaid hair together. We would take pictures, and oh my goodness, we had a ball with Christina every single day, every single night. We would go shopping together. We would come home, cook together, and that was the Christina I knew, the joyful, beautiful Christina. No matter what was happening to her, she would show up from that divine expression of who she truly was. And that was the Christina that I love. Every part of her, even the ones that was stubborn, Christina's one of the people. She's, even though she was aware that she was transitioning, and I know she was aware for a long time, she would sit and serve. No matter what was happening to her, she would serve. She would stay up the entire night. All night she would be on there preparing for Speak and Inspire to serve all of the beautiful Mind Valley students. She would work around the clock. It didn't matter what time it was. I would always talk her into every night. I'm like, Christina, self-care, you have to take care of yourself. But she's like, okay, Francesca. I'm like, surrender, just self-care. She's like, okay, I'll remember self-care, right? And then she would negotiate it away. At 4 o'clock in the morning, I'd wake up and there was Christina still on the computer. I'm like, Christina, you haven't slept. How is your body going to heal, right? I know I've shared, different scattered stories because, again, I left my speech. Or my speech left me, whichever one Chrissy and I, we always say it's divine. Everything happens in divine timing. Everything happens for a reason. And I show up my best when I'm speaking and sharing from my heart. And it's such an honor to have met Christina, to have met her family. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share. What a beautiful, beautiful being. We have so much unfinished business, and that's what I keep, because we had plans. We were going to go to Hawaii together. She was going to take me to the Mermaid Cave. We were, supposed to go horseback riding with my daughter and do so many things together, Every time she came to Vancouver, we would go to the Nam. It was one of her favorite restaurants. And if I'm going over 5 minutes, please just let me know. Because I have no sense of time whatsoever. We would go to the Nam. Every time she came for treatment, she would, in Vancouver, she would, Francesca, I'm just around the corner from your house. And she would pick me up and we would go to the Nam. And we would sit down and we would have the most joyful conversation and eat the most delicious food ever, because I love the food at the Nam. And I have no idea who I'm going to do that with anymore.
I'll take you.
Thank you. I'll gladly go with all of you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much, Christina. I love you. Oh, mami, padme hum. Thank you.
Wow, that was beautiful, and I think it really was meant to be that you didn't have your notes, because I don't think you could have said it any better than that. And you were talking about Christina doing karaoke, and I turned to Rob and I was like, did you know that she sings? And Rob's like, no. I was like, I didn't know that either. So I feel like at all our family gatherings, we missed a huge opportunity there. We should have brought out the karaoke and had her sing for us. All right, so anyways, beautiful. Thank you, Francesca, for sharing. Can I please ask Donna Mueller to come up and share a few words about Christina?
So much love in this room, and it's wonderful to hear all of these incredible stories and memories of each and every one of your experiences and time with Christina. On July 10th, 2015, on a 737, 35,000 feet above Scotland, an engine exploded on the plane that I was on. And that's where I met Christina. and the impact that she had on my life was almost as big. She had just finished a yoga retreat in Greece, and I was on holiday with my children, and we were all heading home to Vancouver. And our entire friendship from that fateful day was one of shared adventure, curiosity, and passion for the planet. We shared a love for photography, and Christina was a master with her camera underwater. And in a profession dominated by men, Christina hauled her huge underwater housing and camera, which was almost half of her body size, and captured the beauty of the marine world that she loved so much. Her photos were mesmerizing and showed a fragile ecosystem and its inhabitants at risk. Marine environments were her nirvana, and as everyone who knows her knows, Christina was a mermaid, as many of you have referenced, and the ocean was her home. Not only did she photograph the ocean, but she also advocated on its behalf for the preservation of it. For example, in 2020, she pretty much unilaterally saved the bumphead parrotfish and Napoleon wrasse in Palau with her campaigning petition. She'd been diving there for over 15 years and witnessed the increasingly fragile ecosystem and the threat to its marine life. Christina worked tirelessly and selflessly on this project, like she did so many projects that she was passionate about. We would often talk about the plight of the world and the environments, both marine and land-based. Christina was a true and loyal friend to me, always there to lend an ear and impart with an incredibly sage wisdom. As well, we shared the love of laughter. Our shared passion of photography and love of laughter accompanied us to the corners of the globe, from swimming in the beaches of Maui, to kayaking around the Gulf Islands, reveling the magic of a Swiss Christmas in Zurich, to the tops of Whistler Mountain. There was always an adventure to be had, and we traipsed around laden with far too much camera gear, feeling like Sherpas, and we often laughed until we cried. It never ceased to amaze me how Christina could get so much done, with such power and such efficiency. At 5 feet nothing, she had the presence of someone 10 feet tall, and an energetic force as strong as that engine that blew on that fateful night in 2015. I had no idea that our meeting would bring such a beautiful friendship to the next 8 years of my life. My life has been made better because she was in it. And even though we can no longer adventure as before, she accompanies me daily in my heart, and I hear her voice in my head reminding me to speak only love, because that is what we are. I love you, Christina.
Oh, wow. These are really good sharings. That was really beautiful. Thank you so much, Donna, for sharing that. I had no idea that's how the friendship started, and that is quite the tale. Wow. Our last speaker before we have another song by Linda is going to be Salish Sakaria. Salish, are you here? Oh, there he is. All right. Thank you, Salish. Come on up.
You know, the greatest disadvantage of being the last speaker is that everybody's already covered everything you're going to talk about, right? So, quick question to everybody. How many of you learned at least one new thing about Christina today? Just look at that. And here's something else. You can always measure the joy that a person brings by the memories and trails that she leaves behind. And you just have to look around you and you can see how many trails that she has definitely left. Not only that, I met Christina back in 2017 on a Speak and Inspire training course, and she immediately captured my heart. And why was that? Because she shared deeply. She was transparent, she was authentic, and there was no ego about her. And that's how she captured my heart completely. I was going through an adversity, and her motto definitely resonated with me. How did it resonate? By returning to love. What she taught me was a simple fact that the power of love, the purity of love, coming from love, compassion, loving kindness is the way to life. And as long as you do that from all of your heart, life will always get better. And I have seen nothing but dizzy heights in the time that I have had the opportunity to spend time with Christina. A little tiny story. My passport, I already had this trip booked from California, traveling yesterday, Wednesday. I found out on Saturday that my passport had expired. And I'm thinking, with everything that I've been preparing, with people that I know across the globe, and by the way, I met Christina through Mindvalley and through Speak and Inspire, why is this happening? And there's always a miracle, just like the butterfly that other lady talked about, right? There is always a miracle. And there was a miracle because when I phoned up the passport agencies, they turned around and said they didn't have an appointment for anybody. It's a 2 to 3 months wait. I had a British passport and I had to get a visa, would you believe, to come to Vancouver. And I'm thinking, really? So, of course, I reached out to my friend, right? And her miracle immediately took place because I phoned up an hour later after hearing this voice, and the lady behind the phone said to me, Salish, we just had a cancellation. Can you be here at 9:30 at the passport office in San Diego, which is 2.5-hour drive from Orange County? And I was there. And here I am, a miracle of life. And that's exactly what Christina was. She was a force of nature, okay? She shared deeply, as deep as the ocean that she loved to swim in. And the best way that I feel that I can celebrate her life and her legacy is to share a poem that I have written. So here it goes. Find my glasses. And I will try not to cry. In the depths of the sea lived a mermaid, brave and free. Christina Hepburn was her name, a light that burned with endless flame. She touched the lives of all she met, a loving soul, a true friend, a warrior, fearless and bold, her spirit shining like pure gold. She battled cancer with all her might, fighting hard both day and night. With family and friends by her side, a support system, a constant guide. Christina was more than just a mermaid, a reminder that life is precious and not to evade, to love and to give and to live in every way, cherishing each moment, each and every day. Sending condolences to her family and friends. May they find comfort in memories that never end. For Christina, the warrior, the mermaid, the friend, is now a bright light star that will never end. Beside her was Jeff, a faithful friend whose presence helped her to transcend. Her son, Michael, remains her pride and joy. Her mother, Dora, her guiding voice. Her sister, Isabel, united in their grief. Her brothers, Robert and Steve, a bond that time may never cleave. Through her journey, her family and friends were her rock, a support system providing sturdy dock. always her conduit to connect with love, a reminder that these truly were our heaven's treasure trove. Though our hearts may be heavy with our loss, we'll carry on, not letting sorrow be the boss. Embracing life's beauty in all its components, Christina Hepburn, you'll forever be a bright remnant. Namaste, dear friend, until we meet again. Your spirit lives on in our hearts within. Your legacy will remain a forever treasure in our memories. You'll live on a joyful pleasure. Namaste.
Wow, thank you very much, Salish, for that poem. That was amazing. And obviously, Christina wanted you here, so that's why the miracle happened the way it did. So I'm going to ask Linda to sing another song, and then we'll have our final 3 shares of the evening. So Linda, I believe you're going to do a Tagalog song for us this time. Excellent. All right. Linda Magno.
Hello. Okay, I'm back. And I just introduce the speaker, it's right here. I'm going to sing a beautiful Filipino song that talks about losing somebody that you care about. And if you have the paper, the pamphlet, or whatever it is, the translation of the song is right there. So, you know, Filipinos, when they create a song, they are so dramatic and very emotional, and we can tell from the translation how it's full of drama, but emotion, and here goes.
Thank you so much, Linda, for sharing your talents with all of us. I know Christina's looking down on this, and she's giving you a round of applause as well. All right, our next share is played a very important role in Christina's life. Uncle Ozzie and Auntie Jo were two of her closest aunts and uncles, and Uncle Ozzie was the real estate mentor from the very start of her career. So Uncle Ozzie also had the first time I ever saw instant replay on a live TV was at this gentleman's house, and we're talking massive, so that's my favorite memory of you.
Well, it's it's humbling to see so many people here, all of them who obviously loved Christina. But I tell you, you called her a butterfly. If she was a butterfly, she was an action-oriented butterfly. She had dreams, but those dreams all had goals attached to them. These things that she did, living life large, don't happen by accident. The first time I realized that was she came to see me. I was the general manager of LePage in Vancouver, and she came to see me. She was working for BC Tel. She was single, she had a boy, and she wanted to be a realtor. And you know, we're talking 35 years ago. Excuse me. She had a good job. She was making some $30,000 a year, which was not bad. And here she wants to be a realtor, and I care for her, and I try to talk her out of it. And that's what I mean by action-oriented. She said, well, no, she had decided to be a realtor. Okay, would I help her? Could I teach her? And I said, yes, I can teach you, but will you do all the things that you need to do? And she said she would do the things I need to do. I said, okay, let's plan to work on the east side. No, I don't want to work on the east side. I want the west side. Well, it's difficult to start anywhere in real estate, but particularly in the west side, or anybody here, as I don't mean you, but people on the west side are more opinionated. They have words like Carisdale Coos, nobody knows what it is, but they have it. And you want to break in there and be a realtor? Well, that's what she wanted to do. So we worked out a plan of action, and she did. I was convinced. Not at the time, but today I was convinced every day she was putting in her 8 or 9 hours, making the phone calls, she got ready, and the listings, but nothing was happening. There were no deals. So one night I drove by the office, the lights were on at 9 o'clock, and when there's an office of mine that the lights are on at 9 o'clock, I take a look and see who's there. She was there on the phone. I said, what are you doing here? Well, you told me that whenever I take a listing in an apartment building, I have to call all the other owners and let them know that I have a listing, because maybe some of their have friends that want to buy it. Yeah, that's what I said, but not the same night, at 9 o'clock. And there was 87 suites in the building. Anyways, you see, people always talk to her, she's so nice and sweet. She is, and she was, and she is, and she'll always will be. But she was action-oriented. When she had a dream, it was almost like it happened. Now, after this meeting with her, I now was convinced she was working, but the results still weren't there. So I sat down with her and I said, oh, look, what is it that you're not doing that you did before? Well, she missed doing exercise. She said, I'm working 10 hours a day, and she missed being with her boy. And Sundays was the day that she really wanted to spend with him, and then she wanted to have an hour's worth of exercise twice a week. So we made a deal. I cannot remember exactly the times it was, but I think it was between 2 and 4 on a Tuesday and 2 and 4 on a Thursday. And that was the idea. Then she had to drive there, get the exercise done, come back, and then she could work as long as she liked. Well, I tested her constantly. I was a pain in the neck for her because I would call the office during the exercise time, and I would say, there's an urgent message, there's a large listing, a guy wants you to come over there right now. And then she would make the phone call and say, I can be there in 20 minutes, and I'd be on the other line. Giving a heck. You're supposed to say, I am sorry, I'm busy till 5 o'clock, I can see you at 6 o'clock or 8 o'clock, pick one. And the funny thing was that even years later, 20 years later, she said, still, sometimes when somebody calls and wants to list a property that I haven't heard before, I think it's probably you, you know. But the thing was, once she got it going, of course, she became a superstar, absolutely superstar, because she brought her talent and her hard work together. She won countless awards on the sales side and the clients' nights. My goodness, her client appreciation nights are legends. She would rent out the whole waterfront cafe. And we're talking in the wine room, you know, she had about 50 people. Everybody was a client of hers. Everybody was in love with her, still is in love with her. And they put on the Ritz. You know, I never knew what that meant until I went to one of Christina's parties. I swear, even 20 years ago, the costs of a night like that were somewhere in the $10,000 range. She was generous to a fault. And of course, people then said, what do I have to do to get invited? Buy a house. I thought it was perfectly normal, no problem. When she wrote her book, and you absolutely have to look at the story that she has in this book, we wrote all that together, a whole group of us. You know, she has a vision, and then she does it. Long before it was popular, she had the idea that movies were being made in Vancouver. So she would have a suite, small suite on Broad Street, 800 square feet, and she'd rent them at $4,000 a month. Now you have to understand, those were the days when you could rent them for $1,000 a month. And I said, well, what do you do? Well, she says she wants them rented to a movie director or a movie star. She gave them a $5,000 dining room table, and first time I ever saw a hanging fireplace on the wall. She had all that. And that's how she did it. She looked at the thing with an artistic eye, but she was also quite clear that she wanted to be paid for her artistic endeavors. Somehow I get the impression you think she was all interested in money. No, she was quite interested in money. If you want to live life large, you have to the wherewithal to have life large. But so, when she called me and we go for dinner, I know it would be Caderos, or would be, El Giardino's, and she'd always know the chef, she'd know the owners. A parade of people would walk by, hi, Christina. I said, but do you live here? Oh, no, it's the first time I come here. But you know, she was well known because she did have, as you all pointed out, an open heart. She had time for everybody, and she was an absolute driven person. Now, clearly, when the divorce happened, it was a major shock to her system. And as the other speaker pointed out, she went to Vancouver Island, and things changed, you know, and she looked more onto her spiritual side. And of course, the last few years, she was learning to look at life in a slightly different way. But as I listened to the speech, she was still driven to maybe work hard and doing things for others. She's always had that personality, and that's what I love. I love an action-oriented person. She was forever, ever into action, you know, whatever she was doing. Now, last summer, my wife and I got married, had an anniversary, our 55th year. How did we do that, Joe? I mean, but anyways, she was there. Everybody loved her. She was talking to my 23-year-old granddaughter, and they were like sisters. And we were dancing with the kids. She was singing. We had an absolutely marvelous time. And that's how I will remember her always. She was loved. She is loved. She'll always be loved. And wherever she ends up, there'll be changes up there, I'll tell you.
Thank you very much, Uncle Ozzy. What great stories of Christina, and that's definitely, I think, how a lot of our family remembers Christina. She was definitely a force to be reckoned with. Our next speaker is also a force to be reckoned with. She is the eldest of all of my mom's siblings, and she is loved by all of her nieces and nephews and the entire family, so I am very honored to call up my Tita Dora to say a few words. So, your turn.
If you're gonna use the phone, it's okay. I think I can see. I think I can see, darling. I can see. Yeah. I really like it. I really like it. Where is it? Where's my page one? Where's the page two? It's right there. Page two. Let's see. I am last because I knew her the longest, 60 years and 27 days. But I'm not gonna speak for 60 minutes. Okay. Stephen, Robert, Erica, Jeff, Sarah, Francesca, Donna, Salish, Ozzy. It gives me great joy that you each have shared with us a beautiful soul who brought joy to your world and laughter to your days. Losing a child is an incredible, painful experience, be it for a newborn baby, an adult, or losing someone through a tragic accident or suicide. It is a lifetime grief. It is a fact I have gone through this in 2024, losing my eldest son, Sel, to cancer. He was only 34 years old. I am grateful that Christina's life and love impacted most of you, not all of you, and confirmed the authentic love cannot die. Between mother and daughter, we certainly had our bouts of misunderstandings, arguments, but in the end, the unconditional love between us never dies. I would like to share with you Christina's last days as I thank the Lord with prayers, petitions, praise, and thanksgiving. It was in February 21st that she was diagnosed with cancer, but it was 4 months later in June 2021 that Christina had the courage to tell me that she was diagnosed with 4th stage XXX breast cancer. I cannot see the light. Okay. Not
curable but treatable. Prognosis, terminal, and 18 months to live if she's lucky. I counted the months, and December 2022 was the 18th month in my estimation. As private as she was with her ailment to the misunderstanding of many, Christina was on a quest to find treatments to fight the death sentence. I had my fears privately as well, and just hope that the treatment that she would find available in Greece would be able to fight all those bad cells in her body. Of course, I was afraid and asked myself, am I going to lose another child? I could only pray and requested for prayers from my family, friends, prayer groups. I have been through that twice before. First, when my late husband was told he had 5 years to live, he only made it to 4.5 years. When my eldest son's cell was given 8 months to live, he made it past 8 months before he died 7 months later. Once again, turning to the Bible, and reread the verse that comforted me during the times Bob and Sel were in the palliative units themselves, I read, "Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and humble of heart, and you will find rest for yourselves. For my yoke is easy and my burden light." It's Matthew chapter 12, verses 28 to 30. Could you hold it for me? Christina entered Abbotsford Regional Hospital Palliative Care Unit on January 10th. A few days later, Father Richard from St. Anne's Patrick stopped by to give her the sacrament of anointing of the sick. Through a series of radiation over the last months of her confinement, the results were not good news at all. After all, a series of family meetings with her oncologists and doctors on duty gave us the unthinkable words: cancer had metastasized to her lungs, bones, spine, and lower part of her brain. So with Christina, I did not ask for a physical healing. If the inevitable is to happen and I would surrender her to God's care, I pray that she dies in the peace of Jesus and that our Blessed Mother Mary pick her up to meet her son. When I started praying the Divine Mercy Chaplet with her, she asked to read what was written on the back of this holy card. Where's my holy card? I have to show you my Divine Mercy holy card. She read it loud, and each time I would pray with her, she read the introduction to the prayer on the back of this holy card. I was fortunate to be by her bedside on the day before she died. She couldn't read anymore, but she did ask for me to pray with her. Allow me to read the promises of Jesus to Saint Faustina as recommended in the Diary of Saint Faustina. First, about this image. The image of this merciful Jesus was painted as requested by our Savior according to the instructions given by the saintly Sister Faustina in 1934 in Lithuania. This image, venerated in the Shrine of Divine Mercy in Litmus, Lithuania, says, "Lord Jesus said, I promise that the soul that will venerate this image will not perish. I also promise victory over its enemies already here on earth, especially at the hour of death. By means of this image, I shall be granting many graces, so let every soul access to it." Jesus also said, "Whoever will recite it will receive a great mercy at the hour of death. When they say this chaplet in the presence of the dying, I will stand between my Father and the dying person, not as the just judge, but as the merciful Savior. priests will recommend this to sinners as their last hope of salvation. Even if there is a sinner most hardened, he or she were to recite this chaplet only once, he or she would receive grace from my infinite mercy. I desire to grant unimaginable graces to those souls who trust in my mercy. Through the chaplet, you will obtain everything if what you ask for is according to my Father's will. That is from the Faustina Diary, number 1541 and 731. Were our prayers answered? Definitely, because all providential signs show, number one, when Jeff's sister Tara, and I saw her on the early morning of her death, Christina had such a meek face with a smile, like saying, "I'm happy to meet you." That's my thoughts. Number two, she died on a Saturday, a day devoted to our Blessed Mother. My sister Christy joined me on this prayer wish that she may die on a Saturday. Number three, she died on her son's 40th birthday and said, "Happy birthday, Michael." And to Jeff, she said, "I love you, babe. I love you all." Our 9-day novena prayer for the repose of Christina's soul ended on a Sunday, March 19th, on the Lord's Day. And for this year was also the feast day of Saint Joseph on that day. Number three, the funeral mass for her remains was held on March 22nd, the day of the month that is most special to Jeff and Christina, because it was on March 22, 2020, when they first met. And today is Christine's 40th day in her final home in the eternal life. And the number 40 is of great significance to Christians, as we all know and aware of. I will never forget the joy on her face whenever her sister Apples, also known as Isabel, came for a visit, and she'd bring her special lunch, something different each time. I will never forget the joy on her face when I would bring her hargao, her special flat, and it had to be dry noodles, and sushi and sashimi, of course. I will always remember the joy on her face when her son brought decorations to brighten up her room. I will always remember her joy when Jeff or Michael would spend alternate nights with her in the hospital. I will always remember her joyful face on my birthday last year. I will always remember the last Christmas incredible dinner of paella and oversized prime rib when she and Jeff had the family together. I will never forget the joy in her face when she celebrated her 60th birthday, sharing her favorite cakes with everybody who dropped by. I will never forget her joyful face when Christina drops by to see me and brings me the dish laing, which she makes out of kale leaves with beet roots, immersed in creamy coconut milk, which we both mutually loved. I think about heaven more so now and often wonder about the things that God has prepared for her. And we remember Jesus saying, "In my Father's house there are many dwelling places. If there were not, would I have told you what I am going to prepare a place for you? If I go and prepare a place for you, I will come back again and take you to myself, so that where I am, you also may be." As John 14:2-3. I am grateful to God that she made this hard journey amidst pain and suffering. She endured them bravely for 20 months. We had a special moment, mother and daughter, forgiving one another for the shortcomings in our lives. Forgiveness and harmony within families is most freeing and the best comforting thought brought about through Christina's pains and sufferings. And best of all, after searching for God all over the world, I am most grateful that she accepted Jesus as her only Lord and Savior in her final moments when I was with her. I will always remember her words when I advised her to constantly say the mantra, "Come, Lord Jesus, come, Lord Jesus." She looked at me and said, "I like that." Christina, you fought a brave battle with cancer. Now it's time for you to be free from pain. Rest in peace, dear daughter. Thank you all for coming, and to those still watching on live stream, I bid you a good night, a safe drive back home, with a quote from St. John Chrysostom. They whom we love and lose are no longer where they were before. They are now with Jesus. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Dora. She's obviously an inspiration to our entire family. So it's nice to have her say those words. Our last share is actually going to be by video presentation. Her son Michael has put together, I think we're going to watch both videos, right, Mike? Both videos? Yeah, we're going to watch both videos. Michael put he has the first video will be a sharing of his about his mom, and then the second video he put together is just a celebration of her life. Before we play the video, I just want to say that I'm super proud of my cousin, nephew, whatever. Michael has been incredible since his mom was passed, and yeah, you've been inspiring, buddy. So, just a round of applause for Michael for putting this all together. Thank you so much, Michael, for putting those together. Say picture says 1,000 words, and yeah, those 2 videos, I don't even know what to say. She lived such an amazing life, and she loved hard, and there's something we can all take away from that for sure. All right, well, before we close out the official part, I know there was a lot of thank yous that were given out, and I do want to also recognize all of the aunts that helped put this together as well, with all the food and whatnot. And like I said, Michael, deserves a lot of credit for putting this all together. Put a lot on his shoulders, and yeah, so. In closing, may we all go forward today with an ever-growing light in our soul. May the memories of Christina always bring us joy and not pain. May the words, touch, and presence of our loved ones always bring us peace. And may we be blessed from this day forward, grateful for a life lived and a legacy left behind. Finally, may we pledge to keep with us each day Christina's example of love and joy and the incredibly intentional and determined life that she lived, and be eternally grateful that Christina was a part of our world and our lives. Thanks so much for sharing this evening with us, and I hope everyone has a great night. Thank you. I believe at this point the servers will be bringing the food in shortly. We'll put some music on. Maybe we can even have Michael, you can have the slideshow on repeat. I just like seeing Christina's photos up there. I think you guys all do. And yeah, we've got the whole night to share stories, reminisce, and just enjoy each other's company, as I'm sure Christina would. Oh yes, a reminder to please fill out the memorial hearts, right? That we made out there for Message to Christina, and as Uncle Ozzy was saying, there's copies of the book out front that everyone's welcome to take home as well. So yeah, hope to talk to you guys all soon.